Good morning, my crafty lovelies. We're back again. Today we're going to learn how to make these flowers. I had a request on making these ones. Now, just so you know, these are actually made out of a 6x6 pad of paper. The ones I'm making today would have been cut from an 8x8, but they're actually, I'm using A4 paper. So one sheet of A4 paper actually cuts enough pieces of paper for 2 flowers, whereas with your paper stock, you'd need 3 pages to do 2 flowers because you cut them into 4. So, and I like to use 6 petals. I have seen tutorials where they use 5 petals for this, but I like the look of the 6 petals. So this is my version. I didn't come up with this flower, but it's my way of doing them. All right, so let's get started. All right, so yeah, A4 paper will actually cut 4 of these, which is each one of these squares is 2.5 inches, so it would actually be 6 inches by 6 inches. Not sure what the 6x6 paper is. I just cut it in quarters. So that'll cut 6 of those. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I used 2 pieces of paper. So each piece of foolscap paper, A4 paper, will cut 6 of these with a little bit excess. So I'll just show you the excess. This is after I've trimmed it here. So you've got it like that. This is the one with the excess on it. So you can see there's 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to cut that off. And as always, I've done bits and pieces before so that the video is not too long. If you're anything like me, I like to get stuck into the video and see it get done, not wait. I'm an instant gratification person. So there you go, that's what we have left over afterwards. So it's not much. Alright, so I usually sit there at night time with a pile of these and just fold them. And the first thing I do is actually fold them in half like this. And I find the easiest way, I've changed my camera angle here so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. I just hold those pieces together like that. Like that. And that gives me my seam there. And I'll sit there and I'll do a whole pile folded up like this. And then I go on to the next step. So these are pretty easy once you start doing them. Like I said, if you do a whole ton at once, they get done easy. So once they're like that, I do the next fold, which is like this. So, and I leave a little gap in the middle here. I find that helps me. Alright, so what I do is just take it to the side of the point there. I hope you've got a better view today. Means I can't really monitor my camera very well, but anyway. So, over to the side like that, and just leave the little gap. Easy. And I'll sit there and I'll do a whole stack and just pop them like that. And then go on to the next stage. I find if you're just to the side of the point, And the paper will feel like it's buckling a little bit. But just pay attention to this side, not the buckles that are in here. It'll actually hide. Alright. So once we've got to that stage there, what we're going to do is we're going to take each one of these and we're going to flatten it out. Now I find if you turn it this way here, you can actually line up the creases there and there. So I hope we have enough light today. I'm using natural sunlight. There's plenty of sun today, so it's coming through the window. So I'll flatten it out from the other side a little bit and then turn it over and just line it up and press it down, of course. There's so many interesting origami flowers and things that you can find. Once you know how to do them, there you go, you fold it in like that. So fold it back in half again, but the opposite way, obviously, like that. Now the ones that I have seen, you either fold this piece in or fold that piece out. When I first started doing them, I only had the print on one side. And I do like to use a printed paper. This obviously is printed on both sides, but I found it was just easier once it was trimmed like that. Once it was done like that, I would just trim this edges off like that. And that got rid of any thickness too. Sometimes if they're a bit thick, it's hard to do anything with them. But just like that. Now the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half. So not fold it hard, we're just going to do a soft crease. Now if you concentrate on the middle here, and I bend it from the middle, you don't get the buckling as much. The buckling sort of disappears. So I generally just fold it in like that. You can crease the very end here because we're going to cut that off. But I fold it in like that, and I'll leave that until I've got a whole pile of them done again. So I'll just show you what I mean about the creasing. If you try and fold it and you're concentrating, hang on a minute, let me just get this to get it up to that stage. Just fold that up. And we'll get it ready. Right, so if you try and fold it and you're concentrating on these edges here when you're folding it, you will find, I don't know if you can see that, I'll try and get it. You'll find you get buckling in here. This paper will feel like it just doesn't want to go. So that's why I concentrate on the centerpiece here. Concentrate on that and it comes out nice and smooth. If you're holding the edges here, you get a little bubble in here, like this will bubble like that. And we don't want that to happen. So concentrate on the center there when you're folding it, and then bring the edges together. I always try and just line the very top up so it's nice and flat there. Okay, so let's see. Okay, glue gun's hot. Lovely. So what we're going to do now is just going to put a little bit of glue here and make sure those edges line up lovely like that. There you go. So we want it to look like that. Now, the tutorials I've seen, they actually leave all of this like this, but I found that this was two-dimensional for me. It was too large, and I wanted it flatter so that I could put it onto my craft projects. So what I actually did is I went in and I measured approximately half. So I've done 1.5 inches along here, and then I've cut it off. And I found that when that flower is ready, don't worry about the hole, because I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to save these pieces and I'll show you what we'll do. So by doing that, it sits the flower flatter for me and it goes better on a project. You could probably take a little bit more off, but I find that half of that is just perfect. And it gives you a little bit of dimension, but not too much. So once we've got it to this stage here, I'm going to do just one more. Get it to that stage there. Line up these edges together like that. Lovely. And again, I want about 1.5 inches. Actually, it's 1.25 inches. I beg your pardon, it's 1.25 inches, because we're going right in the centre, because we're splitting that half there. So once we've got it like that, what we do is we line these two up together so they're nice, right next to one another. And I like to hold it like this with my fingers in there, and then I can put the glue in there. I know that that's going to line up lovely. Put the glue in between the two of them, and then I can just hold the two of them together like that. And take all the excess glue off with my steel fingers. Alright, so I do 3 sets of 2 like that, and then I put the 2s together, so I've got 4 there, and I want to do 6, so it's going to line up nicely. It doesn't matter if you go up the side a little bit. I just like to make sure that that top's nice and straight. Once that's together there, it doesn't matter if the bottoms aren't quite right, just make sure the top's nice. So once it's round like that, when I get to the last one, I like to put a little bit of glue down through the centre as well, but careful you don't put too much, because you might actually melt the other glue and it will all fall apart. So I'll put a little bit down there, a little bit either side there, and we're going to fold that around and just hold that in there like that. Don't worry about that hole there. We're going to cover that with a little gemstone. Right, so we've got it to that stage there. And what I like to do, these centres that I've cut off, that one's glued together. These centres that I've cut off, I'll open them up. Oh, I've got some more here. I'll open these up like this. There we go. And I'll get 2 of those and I'll stack them together and put a little bit of glue between them to make them a bit thicker. And then I'll cut this into a circle like this, and that will get glued on the bottom there. So generally what I do, nice amount of glue around the bottom there like that. And we're going to just place that flower on there, and we just want to squish our flowers petals in a little bit. Make them a little bit rounder. once you've got the middle together, you can go through and actually put a little bit under there, under the edges. And if there's too much overhang here, you can trim it, or what I do is generally, like, most of it will be all right, and then I'll find a spot. Okay, there's a bit extra there. That's where I'll put my leaf. So I'll just crush them in like that. Easy, easy. And you can trim off any extra that you don't want, like that. But I try and leave one space at least where I can put a leaf in. Sometimes I'll put two. It'll just sort of depend on the look of the flower that I want. So that's our flower, pretty much ready to go. And what I've been using is these little stick-on gems. I like the look of the flower in the middle there. That purple's pretty, isn't it? But you could use little faceted gem. That would look nice too. Or a colour. Approximately this size, I think, is good. And that'll cover up that little hole in the middle. So you can actually squirt glue down here, make sure that's all going to stay together, and then put your facet on. Now, I like to, oh, here we go. You could also use a pearl, a little flat back pearl. So even though these are sticky, I do like to use the glue because the sticky doesn't seem to last. And when you've got a project that you want to keep nice, you want to make sure that your gem's not going to fall off. So I'll stick a bit of glue down the middle there, around in the middle. My gem is stuck on my finger. So that just covers up that hole there. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Oops, sorry. Okay, so there's my leaf. Now, I've just cut these out last night. This is I don't know whether you can see it. It was actually a rose print, but in green. Now, I'd never use a green rose print. So to me, that would have been a wasted sheet of paper. But I do like the variegation in it. When I cut it up into my squares and then in half, which is the same size squares as I used for the flower. When I use that and it's got the variegation on there, I find that gives you a really nice looking leaf. I like the way that turns out. Like I said before, you know, I don't go and measure it and what have you. What I do though is I make sure that the first fold is actually folded so that the colour is coming up like this. So you've got the white towards you. And I just make sure that first fold looks pretty even. If you can get that first fold even, you've got half your job done there. Because I actually use the fold as a guide when I fold the next one. So each time I'll use the fold to guide me for the next one. So if the first fold is right, you're going to be right all the way through. I'll fold it down like that. Now if you get down to the end and it's going to fold over that way and you think, oh yeah, no, I don't really like that, or you don't like the amount of overhang there, it's too big or it's too small or whatever, you don't think it's going to work out even, I personally trim it off. It's gone. No problem. So there's your folded piece of paper. If you have a look at that, it looks fairly even. And we're just going to take it and fold it from the centre. Fold those two pieces together, that edge there. And that's the edge that we're going to glue. So So there you go. We'll put our glue in there on that edge. Push that together. Make sure it's going to open up. I haven't put too much glue in there. Right, so that's going to stretch out nice, lovely. Now I don't like the way you get this little bit here, so what do? Trim it along, same angle as that there. There you go, that piece is gone. And there's your leaf. Doesn't that look perfect? Oh, too good. So this is our larger piece that we had here. We're just going to slip that leaf in there. There we go. So a bit of glue in there. Put that in there. And just push that down. And there's our flower. Doesn't that look lovely? Now if we wanted to add an extra leaf in there, we can do that. Sometimes that looks nice having 2 leaves. Depends on your project you're doing. You can have a second leaf there. Up to you. It's your flower. Make it the way you want it. So I hope that's helped you girls, guys, whatever, crafty lovelies. Apparently I'm going to be doing a rose tutorial as well. So have fun making your flowers. Bye for now.